EA did a live stream yesterday about MUT 22. They revealed a truckload of stuff. If you missed it, check out Xerxes' video. He uploaded it last night after the stream. They revealed a bunch of player stats. Some good ones that I noticed are Mahomes, Najee Harris, Trayvon Mulrig, Kyle Pitts. Lots of the rookie premier players are overpowered. Jamar Chase, he's faster than Tyreek Hill. And I actually really like the team captains this year. Lance Allworth, Jack Youngblood, John Lynch, and Sean Alexander. All four of those players were not in Madden 20, returned for Madden 21, and now they're back for Madden 22. And I'm actually decently flabbergasted that Allworth and Youngblood are back in the game. I'm surprised they put them in the game 2 years in a row. They're just the type of people you wouldn't think would come back into the game. I'm not mad because Allworth is a really good card. Nobody would get mad at them and say, I'm not buying this game because Allworth and Youngblood aren't in it. I didn't even know who those were when they came out. Anyway, let's get into NFL 100. Articles 23 to 25. And if you already know their stats, comment down below who you guys are going to be using for your Madden 22 rookie premieres. I got all 10 sets done. So I'll probably take Vera Tucker, Pitts, and Morig as the 3 Nats. Then Jamar Chase is the auctionable, sell him and buy Najee Harris. Because I'm a Steelers fan. But I don't want him to be Nat. I don't want to be locked into the running back position, There's also a Team Builders Chase Claypool that I'll probably have to get. I feel like in Madden 21 we got a lot of players that we haven't really gotten before. And not really well-known players. Allworth. Unitas is well-known, but he's never in the game. Youngblood, Merlin Olsen, Fritz Pollard, Jim Thorpe, Marcel Reese. A lot of guys maybe you've heard of them, but they're not really big-name players, I don't think. Maybe someone I don't know, Terrell Owens, Emmitt Smith, Walter Payton, Marcus Allen. A lot of these guys that we're used to getting in the game were excluded this year. And with Allworth and Youngblood getting revealed, maybe that'll be the case this year again? I don't know. Anyway, enough time wasted. Article number 23, Joe Montana's Super Bowl 23 Magic. Here's the picture here. Joe Montana ready to throw it. Joe Montana's Super Bowl 23 Magic, January 22, 1989. Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Boomer Esiason was standing on the sideline during the closing minutes of Super Bowl 23. The Bengals clung to a 16-3 lead over the San Francisco 49ers, and a camera crew gathered near Esiason. It was the crew that would be filming the annual I'm Going to Disney World commercial that traditionally featured the Super Bowl MVP and was a staple of the Super Bowl postgame for years. Esiason was going to be their guy. Then something happened. Joe Montana happened. After a Cincinnati field goal gave the Bengals a 16-13 lead with 3:20 left, San Francisco started the ensuing drive on its own 8-yard line. Montana and the 49ers had won their first Super Bowl 8 years earlier, also against the Bengals. The highlight of that game was a goal line stand by the Niners. This time it was the offense that took center stage. With cool precision, Montana drove the 49ers 92 yards, capping the game-winning drive with a 10-yard scoring pass to receiver John Taylor with 34 seconds to play. As the 49ers players celebrated on their sideline, Esiason looked behind him to where the Disney crew was standing. They were gone. He looked to his left, and there they were, sprinting to the other side of the field to find a 49er for the commercial. The MVP of Super Bowl 23 was Jerry Rice, who caught 11 passes for 215 yards and 1 touchdown, but it was Montana whose legend mushroomed thanks to that 92-yard game-winning drive. It was the third of his 4 titles as 49ers quarterback, and he made it look so easy. In fact, part of the legend of Joe Cool is how he kept his teammates calm and focused as they huddled up to begin that final possession. As the offense gathered around him waiting for some words of inspiration, Montana looked up and pointed towards the stands behind the end zone and told his teammates that he saw comic actor John Candy. Quite the story. Now on to the first NFL draft. Here's the picture. Article 24, First NFL Draft, February 8, 1936. It was then Philadelphia Eagles owner Bert Bell, who would later be commissioner, who proposed the idea of an NFL draft in which teams chose players in reverse order of their record the previous year. The first draft took place at the Ritz-Carlton in Philadelphia, and the first overall pick was University of Chicago halfback and Heisman Trophy winner Jay Berwanger, seen here, so he was in the picture. Drafted by the Eagles and then having his rights traded to the Bears, Berwanger never played in the NFL. The Eagles traded him because they didn't think he could meet his salary demands, reportedly $1,000 per game. Bears owner George Halas thought he could negotiate with Berwanger, but they couldn't agree on a deal, and Berwanger simply walked away from football. Wow. The first pick to actually sign and play in the NFL was the second overall pick, University of Alabama quarterback Riley Smith, who played 3 seasons for Washington. Of course, that first NFL draft wasn't anything closely resembling the major event it is today. Teams didn't have scouting departments. Even if they did, there was a limited number of players available to draft. All 8 NFL teams were required to submit 9 names, thus creating a pool of 72 draft-eligible players for the 9 rounds. For the record, the 1936 draft produced 4 future members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame: tackle Joe Stidehar, 6th overall pick Bears; fullback Tuffy Lehman, 2nd round, 18th overall New York Giants; and Wayne Milner, 8th round, 65th overall Boston Redskins; and guard Dan Fortman, 9th round, 78th overall Bears. Now to showcase some of the NFL's leadership after 9/11. Looks like an Eagles versus Seahawks pregame. They're all holding the flag. And if you guys can see, I believe that is Shaun Alexander right there, who we were talking about earlier, that with the 3 on its jersey. Article 25, NFL's leadership after 9/11, September 13, 2001. Pete Rozelle once said that his greatest regret as NFL commissioner was not canceling NFL games the week that President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. That wasn't lost on Rozelle's successor, Paul Tagliabue. Immediately following the horrific terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, 2 days after the 9/11 attacks that shook the nation, Tagliabue announced that all NFL games that week were postponed. There was a group arguing that you don't cave to a terrorist, recalled Tagliabue in explaining the league's thought process. Ultimately, they realized this was different. You couldn't play a game with 3,000 people missing. The weight of that decision was just part of the heavy responsibility that lay squarely on Tagliabue's shoulders. In order to reschedule the postponed games, the week after the regular season was supposed to end, and still maintain the full playoff schedule, the NFL had to push the Super Bowl back 1 week, which meant negotiating with the National Auto Dealers Association and get them to move their convention, which had the Superdome and New Orleans hotel rooms booked that week. The commissioner also had to oversee the new security measures that were in place at every NFL stadium when fans returned on September 23. And he had to be a leader in his league's players and personnel did their part to help the nation heal. I think it's been lost by history what a big role Tagliabue had in leading the NFL through a crisis period, retired Pro Football Hall of Fame Vice President Joe Horrigan told Sports Illustrated in 2014. I have always believed the actions he took following the attacks were critical not only for the NFL but for America. The nation looked to its political leaders for strength and a sense of security, but we also looked to the private sector to help reestablish the all-important sense of normalcy that was taken from us all. I think his course of action became the template for crisis management in sports and in business. 5 months after the attacks, the American public was slowly getting back to a state of normalcy, though nothing would ever really be as it was. The Super Bowl would be a time to reflect on the tragedy that occurred when the season began and also show the world that the United States was resilient. The pregame show at the Louisiana Superdome featured Paul McCartney, the Boston Pops, and a video of all the living presidents and former First Lady Nancy Reagan reading speeches from Abraham Lincoln. During U2's goosebump-inducing halftime show, a giant screen rolled the names of all the victims of the 9/11 attacks. At the show's end, Bono opened his jacket to reveal an American flag sewn inside it. I still think Super Bowl 36 is one of the biggest moments in the history of the league, said then NFL VP of Events Jim Steig. I just think if there's something the league should ever take credit for having really done well, and making a difference in society. That would be it. Pretty good segue as to say that would be it for this video. I'll be making a video tomorrow going over some stuff you should do in MUT. Maybe some things that you wouldn't think of doing, but would be pretty good to do for the start of Madden 22, of course. And then at some point in between then and the next NFL 100 video, I'll be dropping the Gauntlet, the last Madden 21 Gauntlet. And later I'll make a video going over what to do with your pre-order packs, like the Gold Team Fantasy packs. Who should you pick? Thanks for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Goodbye. Also subscribe.